every step of the way during the pandemic to get us where we're at today. But I have to say, I couldn't have done that, first of all, without the help of my colleagues in City Council, who supported this project, who understood that we needed to do more for our first responders, understood that they needed to have a place where they could share the ideas, work together to save lives. One of the things that I really know and appreciate about our paramedics, now they can also train with our police officers and firemen so that they could be able to understand what they do on a regular basis. I think this is a win-win for the city of Chicago. I think this is a win-win for the state of Illinois. I think that this is a win-win for the United States of America, since this is the first joint public safety training academy in the United States. That's a lot to be said. Now, I never really built anything, but I tell you what, you can learn how. Faith without works is dead. And if you don't believe you can do it, you ain't gonna never do anything. I just knew that it had to be done. Now, it didn't come easy. We had to take some bumps, some hills to climb, some ups and downs and some bruises along the way. But our commitment to this city were far greater than those bruises that we were being given. They would heal. And as we are here today, we are going to celebrate the success of all the hard work. Now, I couldn't have done this without the executive committee. You remember I told you we did this during a pandemic. So I had to have community folks engaged in the project. Meetings after meeting, hours and hours of meetings, 2 and 3 meetings a week. Pastor Cowles, can you stand? Pastor Garden, Grady Norwood, I saw you here. Brad Cummins. We have Commissioner Barbara McGowan, Commissioner McGowan. These people took their time out. And we were led by Dr. Elizabeth Lockhart, who is the chairperson of this committee. Now, you want to talk about somebody holding the city's feet to the fire every step of the way? They did. They did. They made them see things that they probably wouldn't have saw or even thought about doing. We made them to work inclusive with the community. We wanted to make sure we see the numbers. It has to be reflective of all of Chicago. So thank you all for the hard work that each and every one of you have done. I have my chairman of public safety coming in, Chairman Talaferro. Thank you, sir, for your leadership and support with our public safety. Let me just say, I am truly excited and elated for AIS, who came in with their team. AECOM, the general contractor for this joint public safety. AECOM, as well as Berlin, BOA, GMA, and I owe a great gratitude to Berlin because, and the mayor, to help us be able to make this contract fair and equity, where each contractor receives the amount of money that they should simultaneously to each other. So that was a great start for us to be able to engage the community. Had that not happened, we may not have been able to get the support. There have been much work that was done to get us here, and we are so elated And I hope each and every fireman and police officer and paramedics, they come through this building for your training. Just have a smile on your face if you don't do nothing else, because you're in a new facility. You know how you get in a new car and you smell the newness? All right, we're in a new facility. All that old stuff you want to throw away. And now we're going to get with the new. Create the new. To make this city the city that leads so other states can follow. That's what we want to do with this Public Safety Training Academy. We want to be the leader so that they know that everyone needs to work together. You're better together. My motto is unity in the community. And I'm sharing that with you today. When you work together, you can get things done. Thank you. God bless all of you. I had to just check and see what was I supposed to do next. So I guess I was headed to my seat, but I got another job to do. And it's not a hard job. I'm to bring to you our mayor. But before I bring you the mayor, I want to share something with you. Even though the city council passed the ordinance for the Joint Public Safety Training Academy, as she was running for mayor, I happened to have a meeting with her and asked her would she support, because I was basing my support on who's going to support this Public Safety Training Academy. That was my goal. I wasn't intending to lose that $85 million coming to this neighborhood. And whatever candidate wanted to help me to bring that about, then I wanted to talk with them. So the mayor told me, she said, well, I like the idea, but I don't like the idea of it being a standalone. I think there need to be other business brought into the neighborhood as well. I think we need to expand the footprint a little bit. That was fine with me, because we don't have nothing anyway, right? You can bring all restaurants. I'm looking for business, and that is what's looking to come into our neighborhood. So, Mayor, to your credit, we thank you, because this wouldn't have happened without your support and your leadership to the team and all of us along the way to make sure that we got here this day. So thank you. And let me bring to you your mayor and my mayor, Mayor Lori Lightford.
Well, you're going to have to indulge me for a moment, because there's a lot to say and there's a lot of people to thank. And this is a very important day for this community. It's a very important day for police and fire, but it's a really important day for our city. So you're going to have to indulge me as I go through and I think recognize and lift up the people who have made this day possible. First and foremost, of course, is the great Alderwoman Emma Mitz from the 37th Ward. I remember, before I was a candidate, Emma Mitz on the city council floor saying, why can't the West Side get something nice? I've supported all of you people across the city, supporting your parks, your economic development. Why can't the West Side get something nice? And she was right. And so I want to thank the members of the city council back in the day who voted to support this project, not only because it's the right thing to do for our first responders, our police and fire, but it's the right thing to do for this community that has been resource-starved for so long. And thank you, Emma Mitz, for your fire, your determination, and making sure that you are bringing home resources to this West Side community. Now, aside from Alderwoman Mitz, you're going to hear from the other folks that I'm joined by today, many of whom you know. Superintendent David Brown, Fire Commissioner Annette Nance Holt, who may have to run out in a minute because there's actually a big fire happening on the south side. You're going to hear from Deputy Mayor for Public Safety, Elena Gottrich, Public Safety Administration Executive Director Anastasia Walker, who kicked us off, and from the 37th Ward Executive Community Advisory Committee, Dr. Elizabeth Lockhart. I also want to thank the members of City Council who are here. Nick Spazzato from the Northwest side, the biggest champion of first responders in our City Council. Thank you, Nick. I want to thank Alderman Walter Burnett, also a West Sider who understands the importance of economic development and making sure that black and brown and women-owned businesses get their fair share. Thank you, Walter Burnett. I want to say thank you to the chairman of the Public Safety Committee, Chairman Taliaferro, also a West Sider. Thank you, Chairman, for all that you do. And a Southsider who may have gotten lost on his way over here, Alderman David Moore, thank you, sir, for all you do. From Auburn Gresham, but understands the importance of being a fiduciary for the whole city. Thank you, Alderman Moore. I also want to acknowledge and thank other people who are here, especially our Gold Star families. And I'm going to ask them to please rise so that we can thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for the service and sacrifice of your loved ones. Please rise so we can acknowledge you. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, all of us here in city government and beyond are working together every day to make sure that the city of Chicago is the safest big city in the nation. Now, we're not at our destination yet, and we all know that. And we're not going to rest until every single person in our city feels safe because they are safe. But a critical part of that is what we are announcing here today, the ribbon cutting on this facility. And there are many tools that we must rely upon to get to our destination of the safest big city in the country. But one of the most significant is making sure that our first responders, our police and our fire, have every tool that they need, and importantly, it starts with training. Training not just for our new recruits, many of whom who are gathered here today, but training for our veteran officers and firefighters and EMTs and paramedic. It must be a lifelong, career-long journey of learning. And this facility helps us do that, not only individually, but also bringing them together, because our police and fire have to work together. And the truth is, they do, and they have, and they will continue to, but we need to make sure that we're providing them with the scenario-based training that is important for them to be able to get the job done. So with today's ribbon cutting, we are reaffirming our commitment to investing in our best-in-class training and development of our first responders. Given the complex web of circumstances that create threats to community safety, we know that our first responders alone, without complementary support, can't get the job done. But we must set our police, fire, EMT, and paramedics up for success. And how do we do that? Again, it's training, training, training. Training over the course of their career, training at the beginning of their career, and training that reflects the actual realities of the situations that they encounter every single day on the streets and in the neighborhoods of this city. Historically, the city didn't invest enough in our first responder training. That is the truth. It was often conducted in makeshift facilities and environments such as vacant lots that neither reflected the real-world conditions nor simulated the scenarios that police officers and firefighters face on the job. The need for modern training facilities came into greater focus when the city entered into a consent decree with the state of Illinois. And with my background as a former federal prosecutor and past president of the Chicago Police Board, I saw too often the need for our modernized training center. Former Deputy Chief Calloway, you remember when we were back in the training academy back in 15 and 16, and I sat in your conference room and asked you, what is the training, mandatory annual training for our police officers, other than firearms qualification? And in that time, recent time, the answer was none. Now, we've changed that around dramatically because we must. The investments are absolutely critical, and this facility is going to help us do the job. When Alderman Mitz said, I needed to make sure that the next mayor of Chicago was going to remain committed to that $85 million. And I think what I told her was, I'm committed to the concept, but not $85 million. That's too little. It's not going to do the job. And so what we did over time, sitting down with police and fire and experts, is we over doubled that budget. So the $170 million that we've invested so far in counting means that we will be on our way to having a world-class facility that will not only train our first responders, but will pay for itself over time as we continue to train first responders from other police localities in the area. This should be ground zero for law enforcement training in our region, state, local, county, and federal, and we are well on our way to getting there. So let me tell you a little bit and brag really about the amenities that are here in this facility. For starters, there's a 6-story tower, each story simulating a different environment that firefighters encounter daily, such as apartments, hotels, and office buildings, as well as an elevator shaft to train recruits on making rescues. The fire department can simulate responding to a fire in a high-rise that will fill with smoke and actual flames. Unfortunately, sounds familiar today. There's an indoor scenario village depicting a 4-way intersection like the ones that you'll find anywhere in our city, with a bar, apartment, building, convenience store, and an office space on each corner. And here the departments can train recruits responding to various emergency calls that are dispatched on a daily basis. And the lighting can be controlled to depict different times of day, sound effects that can be broadcast through a speaker, and special effects like smoke that can be deployed to simulate real conditions. This is the kind of training that our first responders deserve. There's also, as you saw from the back end, an outdoor scenario village that is well on its way. It will have 2 full-size 2 and 3 flats, an apartment building, retail stores, a collapsed parking structure, and train tracks with rail cars. Here, police can practice responding to 911 calls where someone is in a crisis or a barricade situation, or where they can practice executing a search warrant. And some of the less obvious but equally important training elements include specialized classrooms with video cameras, which may not sound all that fancy, but they can play a pivotal role here, and let me explain why. For any professional football fans in the audience, you know sometimes you see those quarterbacks after they've made a play or not made a play, they go to the sideline and they look at the tablets with their coaches to figure out how do we do better the next time. Well, that's exactly what now is going to be available to our recruits and their teachers to really understand when they're going through the simulations what they did right, where they need improvement so they can get it better the next time, which is going to result in better service to our residents on the streets. Another benefit, as you heard, is that our police and fire recruits are going to be able to train and work together before they become sworn members of their respective departments, which has never happened before in a meaningful way. Now it will be systematic and baked into their daily training. And those are the key benefits for our first responders. But let me also highlight some benefits for this community. As I mentioned, $170 million investment and counting. And with this investment, we, with the aldermen and with the steering committee, have been very intentional that we were building wealth that will reside in this community. This project is being built with 41% MBE and 8% WBE participation. Ladies and gentlemen, that is an historic record of accomplishment. And 15.1% of the construction hours were performed by residents from this community. And the AACOM joint venture was comprised of MBE firms like GMA, like BOA, like Level 1. We're very proud of the folks that have gathered together to make this training academy a reality, and the benefits that it is bringing not only in the construction, but also in the long-term benefits to the community. There's also going to be a public plaza nearby along Chicago Avenue, featuring public art to bring life and color on this post-industrial strip. And also important and intentional is the co-location of the Boys and Girls Club in close proximity to the police. Thank you, Mimi. Thank you to the folks at the Boys and Girls Club for all that you're doing. And why is this co-location important? Because familiarity and proximity will help break down barriers and help each group see themselves in the other. That's a good thing, not only for the young people, it's a good thing for our police and fire recruits because they're going to see these kids as they are, but also it's a good thing for our city because what we need more of is opportunities for our residents to interact with members of the police and fire departments when it's not an emergency. It's just an opportunity for people to be people, to see each other in their own skin as the brothers and sisters and neighbors that they are. And this new Boys and Girls Club, with all the incredible amenities that are going to be in it, and seeing those kids come back and forth on this campus, I can't think of a better way for us to get that done. So once again, thank you to Mimi, thank you to the Boys and Girls Club, thank you to the donors that have made this possible, and I'm excited to come back here in the springtime and to see it open up and the first flood of kids go into that great facility. I also have to note that this facility is situated between two Invest Southwest priority corridors, Austin and West Humboldt Park, into which we have already poured literally tens of millions of dollars to also lift up those communities as well. All of these investments will complement one another and spur further investments in Austin and Humboldt Park that will create the lively corridors with new businesses, living wages, and more housing options. Finally, the last thing I'd like to do is about this incredible space is dedication to CPD Police Commander Paul Bauer and CFD firefighter Mashawn Plummer. Each one their deaths and their passing were extraordinarily difficult for our entire community. I remember each vividly. Very difficult for the family still. But what I can tell you is, and remind you, that each man cared about this city. Each man gave the full measure of their person every single day to making sure that these communities were safe and stronger and doing their part. Each family has suffered a lot, as many of these Gold Star families have as well. But the legacy of these two men will endure forever. The recruits who come into this space, the veteran officers and firefighters who come here, will know of their bravery, their resilience, and their commitment to Chicago, which will hopefully incentivize others who pass through these halls to live up to the exemplary service that each of these men, in their own way, exhibited and made the ultimate sacrifice to our great city. So, to the families of Commander Bauer and Firefighter Plummer, we salute you on this day and every day forward, and the legacy of your loved ones will live on in our hearts, but importantly, in this important anchor for public safety forever. I also want to note that each of the streets in the Scenario Village will be named for a fallen fireman or police officer. Their names: French, Jimenez, Soderberg, Wortham, Ankam, Bushio, Capiano, and Stringer. And those families are here with us today. Thank you again, one and all, for your sacrifice and your service. All in all, this marks a great day for the West Side and, of course, for our first responders. Empowered by this space, the next generation of firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics, along with our police officers, will be more ready to hit the streets to serve you, our communities, and make Chicago the safest big city in the country. I want to thank everyone in city government and beyond who got us to this day, including Commissioner Holt, Superintendent Brown, but also the worker bees behind this. CPD Sergeant Tim Finley, Deputy Chief Antoinette Arcetti, Commander Ralph Cruz, CFD Chief Jamar Sullivan, and Chief Curtis Hudson, and the Deputy Director for the Public Safety Training Academy, Eric Valerio, and Max Reardon, the Department of AIS architect, who really stepped up at a critical juncture to make this happen. I also want to thank the village of folks from the mayor's office who also jumped in to make sure that this project kept moving forward. You heard the Alderman talk about those meetings. Our folks were on those meetings as well, and I want to thank them. Importantly, Paul Goodrich, George Marquisas, Steve Scarden, Lori Lipson, and more recently, Elena Gottridge. I also want to say in my final words here to the police and fire recruits, I hope that you are, each and every one of you, savoring this moment. There are times in our city where people with loud voices, but not representative of who we are, will tell you that you're not worth anything, that your sacrifice and your service means nothing. But I want you to feel the power in this moment. I want you to see the people that are here and take with you what I believe is the truth, which is people in the city love and respect our first responders. People in the city want you to be successful because they know that if you're successful in the work that you do, they are going to be safe. They are going to be protected. Don't let anyone ever tell you that this city doesn't have your back, because we do. Each and every one of us, every single leader that is here. That is why we've made this commitment and this investment to you, because we care about you. We know you're stepping up in some of the most difficult times in the history of first responders in our country, but you answer the call, and for that we are grateful. But more importantly, we will be here with finance and support, because that's what we do in the city of Chicago. So God bless you all. God bless your families, and God bless the city of Chicago.
Morning. I don't know how to follow the mayor of the city of Chicago, so I'll keep it short. Thank you to the families. We're very happy to have you here, and we hope that this is a nice honor for you. Recruits, don't ever forget what an honor it is to be a part of the Chicago Fire Department and the Chicago Police Department. Elena Gottrich. I'm the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety. And without further ado, I would like to introduce the Commissioner of the Chicago Fire Department, Annette Nance Holt.
Good morning. I'm excited to welcome you to our new high-tech training campus for the best fire department in the world. Trust me, it is. A special thanks to Mayor Lightfoot, Alderwoman Mitz, and the Committee on Public Safety for their commitment to this endeavor. This is amazing. I'm extremely appreciative to everyone who worked so hard to make this campus a reality. Their commitment went from ideals on paper to the facility we stand here and sit here today. This is a monumental day for the members of the Chicago Fire Department, a day where we move this department one big step closer to a future filled with promise, innovation, and groundbreaking technology. We are the best trained fire department in the world. I believe this wholeheartedly. And this new facility will enhance our ability to train for the ever-changing demands that we respond to on a daily basis. And like the mayor said, right now we're fighting a large fire at 4850 South Lake Park. So keep the firefighters and the paramedics and the civilians in your prayers, please. It's a huge fire. The new public safety training campus is a facility that both the fire and police departments and the community and our city can be proud of. Dedicating this building to the memory of Commander Bauer and firefighter EMT Plummer will forever memorialize their sacrifice and represents those who have paid the ultimate price in their performance of duty. I would like to thank all the families for attending this ceremony today, especially, we didn't mention the Gold Badge, but the Gold Badge families are the fire families, because they've given so much to this city. We also remember firefighters Ankam, Stringer, Capuano, and Busio by naming the streets in the Scenario Village after them. It is a constant reminder of the importance of training and that we will never take our job for granted. Their selfless act of duty and service to the city will never be forgotten. As the other phases of the campus are completed, our commitment is to honor our fallen, and it will expand more. So if you don't see names, there will be more added. We'll find ways to do it. Having proudly served this department for 32 years, I understand fully what a firehouse can mean to a community. And I'm confident this facility will strengthen our relationships with the Austin and West Humboldt Park communities. I will always stress to every graduating class of firefighters and paramedic candidates the importance of not just showing up for work and collecting a paycheck, but becoming part of the community that you work in and live in. This new training campus provides us a state-of-the-art learning space and the opportunity to show young people, particularly young people of color, a chance to see men and women who look like them and often come from similar backgrounds. Sharing this location with the Boys and Girls Club is truly a blessing, not only for the youth, but for us as first responders. Because as they are coming and going from their club activities, they will get a chance to see first responders who can relate to them and hopefully spark a dream to one day serve this great city as a firefighter, a paramedic, or a police officer. Perhaps a future fire commissioner will stand up during a fire department graduation and tell the story about a chance meeting they had with a first responder on the campus or in the community and set them up for a path to serve this great city. Perhaps a young lady will be inspired by women of this department to pursue a future as a first responder. The possibilities, they're endless because of the foundation we are setting today for comprehensive and holistic development that addresses the needs for public safety. This grand opening represents hope and change. I look forward to engaging with the community and continuing to prepare our members for the humble task of protecting life and property in this area and the entire city. Again, thank you, Mayor Lightfoot, Alderwoman Mitz, the design build team, city planners, stakeholders for this awesome opportunity to take the public safety and community engagement to the next level. Thank you, and God bless you all.
You know, going last, everyone says what you had written down to say. So I'll just say a few more comments in addition to what everyone says. First of all, to all the Gold Star families, thank you so much for your sacrifice, your continued service to this city, your support of our first responders. Thank you all so much for being here, and I just hope that the dedication that we're making to the families, either the naming of the facility or the street names in our replica city, adds a small measure of thoughts to you that we will never forget. We will never forget your loved one's sacrifice. Secondly, last year we trained over 956 new recruits. Nearly 1,000 new recruits came onto this department last year. That's the most we've hired in since 2017, 2018 time frame. 70% of those were people of color, and 30% of that number were women. One of the things that this facility does, it puts your money where your mouth is. Officers hear a lot of people saying they support us, but this facility shows that you support us. So this will go a long way in the recruits telling our story about how much Chicago supports its police officers and first responders. Because talk is cheap. It really is cheap. And it goes in one ear and out the other when they don't see that you actually support us in our work. $170 million facility shows that this city supports its police officers. Spread the word. So all of our members will come through this facility, and others as part of their 40 hours of required training per the consent decree. So every member of this department will come to this facility for training every year for 40 hours of their required training. That was zero just a couple of years ago. There was no ongoing training. So again, every member of this department now will see firsthand that this city supports what they do, who they are. You do have to do the job right, and we will hold you accountable, but this training facility hopefully will put COPA out of business. That we will do the job in the right ways, in a respectful way, in a constitutional way. But this is the best facility in the country, bar none. Let's just look at the amenities, the practicality of the training. We have a catwalk where we can look down, our instructors can look down on what they're actually doing real time and make corrections and adjustments. There's a firearm range where you can actually drive a car onto the range, just like you would do in a real life scenario, and get out of your car in a safe manner so you can protect yourself and protect others. There's lighting and audio that can be piped in all the training scenarios, because no neighborhood is quiet. There's dim lights, there's bright lights, there's dark alleys. All of that is replicated in this training facility. It's a real life scenario-based training facility. And I can tell you, you can search far and wide and not find one better than this one. So thank you so much, Alderman Bitts. Thank you so much, Mayor Lightfoot. Thank you to all the alderpersons that are here for your support of this facility. And I'll close with this. Training is the life's blood of policing. The life's blood. So this facility will change this department, but it will also save lives. It will save our officers' lives. It will save the lives of people in the community because they are trained in the best facility in the country. So again, thank you so much for this. Our officers needed this sorely, especially since the last 2 or 3 years, they've heard loud voices say, we don't support you. And this shows that you do. Thank you so much.
Person brings it on. If you heckle, then you get what you get.
There you get what you get.
Yeah.
You get what you get.
And you get it right fast from me.
And I love that. Tell people really quickly about the event before we go, because I want people to know about this.
Well, fortunately, it's sold out at City Winery Thursday night. But
if we know you, we can get it.
Yeah, no, you can't. I just had my mother. I'm like, do you need this ticket or not? I swear to God. But I'm continuing the celebration this weekend. I curate the shows at Riddle's Comedy Club in Supt, so we'll be there for the rest of the weekend. Tonight, Wednesday, Thursday night, the show at City Winery, then Riddle's Friday and Saturday. So just hang out with me, man. In 30 years in the game, I'm still locally based. They say local comedian, but I travel all the time. But Chicago is home, and it's where I always will be.
And we appreciate that, dude.
Thanks,
on behalf of Chicago, dude, congratulations on 30 years.
Appreciate
and 30 more, man.
And thanks for having me.